Hello. Today I'm going to be going over some of the plants I picked up at a local nursery. I picked up some trees, and I'm also going to talk about how to up pot them, because I don't know if I'm going to get them in the ground immediately, but I do know that I want them to be in a pot. Give me just 1 second while I adjust the camera here. I want to be up potted a little bit more before because I might not get to them as fast as I want to. So I want to make sure they have plenty of room to grow while we pick out a spot for them and get a good spot going for them. So I just want to kind of go over what I went. I went to a plant outlet, like a nursery outlet today, where they grow their own plants. These are all propagated there, as far as I know anyway. There might be some from some other growers, but their prices are excellent. So I've been nerding out over these all day, and I had to do a late night stream because I can't stop thinking about them. So this one I'm really happy with. It is a banana. It's called an ice cream banana. Oh, hang on 1 second. I'll show you the whole thing. So it's called an ice cream banana. I'll just leave this unzipped. And let's go all the way. There we go. It's quite large. And I'm going to be planting that. It's a dwarf variety banana that has like a vanilla-y flavor, I suppose. And grows in my grow zone. I'm in 8B, almost a 9 if they redo our zones again. So that's the first one I'm super excited for. I've always wanted a banana. I know we can't really, the Cavendish bananas, the ones you might buy at the store, those don't really grow that well here. You may get them to propagate, you might not, you know. So these do, they're at least regular for this zone, so I can't wait. And I don't know if you saw that, I already have 2 pups. So I have my big main stem, and then I have 2 babies coming off. So that's 3 good stems to start with, which is super exciting. I only paid $15 for this. You can look online. You can look up ice cream bananas to see how much they are. So that's one I'll be up potting. Gotta make sure to get that in a deep pot quick. This is my, I hope y'all can hear me okay. I'm not using my microphone. It tends to peak and pop a little too much, so I'm just going to use my phone's audio. That seemed okay the other day. Anyway, this is the other plant, the second plant that I got. It is a Barbados cherry. One thing that I really liked about this nursery is that for a lot of the plants, they have these little metal tags that have the type of plant that it is, so that I can put that in the garden with the plant and keep it there so that I never really forget. Okay, great. Perfect, thank you. So, this is a Barbados cherry. It is slated for zone 9, but I think that's similar to another one I have out here. I think it's going to be able to grow out here, as long as I make sure it doesn't get too cold and that ground doesn't get too hard frozen while it's getting established over the first couple of years. It should be okay, and I think I can do that easily. Like if it looks like it's going to be too cold or something, I'll come put some chicken wire around it and then stuff straw or leaves in there and keep it wrapped up. There's lots of ways to protect your plants fairly easily, and these are small, so this is real easy to protect during the winter. So we're going to put it outside there. We're going to plant it in the ground and see if after a couple of years if it'll fruit up. So you can also keep it in a pot if you want to move it in and out and not worry about trying to cover it up or anything. But I prefer to try and see if it'll grow. I only paid $12.50 for this, so if it doesn't work at most amount, 12 bucks, I'm good with that. That's great. A similar plant at Lowe's, I believe it was even a Barbados cherry, was, I want to say upwards of $30, $35. So again, these are just great prices. This one I wasn't expecting to get. I've never really looked into growing a tea tree before. But it's listed as a camellia. Camellia, yeah. It's a camellia, tea camellia. It's a tea camellia. It's Camellia sinensis, or tea camellia. And I think we paid, this one was either $8 or $12.50. I can't remember. I think maybe $12.50. But it's fairly well established. Quite large. It obviously fell out of the pot at some point, so they got it in here sideways. But I'm going to be able to plant it and stick it, you know, straight up. But this is obviously like a little half-gallon pot. We got to get it in something a little bigger. So I'm very excited for this. You can make black tea out of the leaves. It's just awesome. I'm so excited to get to this. $12.50. Awesome. The next one that I picked up is called soursop. We grow pawpaws. So in my area, we have these native fruit trees called pawpaws that are they're part of a custard apple family. So whatever that means to you. It's like a way to describe the texture and flavorish profile at the same time. So this is related to the pawpaws. They're like a South American cousin called the soursop. And this from a little photo thing, you can see they're kind of prickly. This is also going to be a tester to see if it's going to be able to grow. Typically they like a warmer climate, but we're just going to see how it does. I don't know. We're going to protect it during the first couple of winters, and once it gets established, it might fruit up. These fruit are supposed to get very, very large. I don't know if it'll ever fruit up, but we're going to find out. I like tests like this, and this one was, again, this was either I think this was $12.50 or $15. I can't remember. But just really neat. I wanted to get pawpaws. I don't have a pawpaw tree, and I really want one because they are native, and anything that's native is usually very important to the biodiversity of your area, just generally speaking. And I would really love to have a pawpaw, but they told me that they do get them, but they sell out super fast because everybody wants one. So I got to go back at the beginning. This is a seasonal nursery. I got to go back around Valentine's Day or early April and look for shipments to come in then, and then I should be able to grab one. But for now, this South American cousin of it is a good start. Custard apple as well. So is the pawpaw. The pawpaw just doesn't have these prickly spines on the outside, and the fruit does not get nearly as large. So, yeah, I'm excited. These trees are supposed to get huge, which makes sense. The plants are supposed to be like a foot long. Anyway, very excited. I'm going to up-pot this one too. Need some love. This one I'm excited for. I've done research on it before. I've always wanted an olive tree. I think they're beautiful trees. They're Middle Eastern in origin, I believe, and just really lovely trees. I love olives. And so I found one there. One of these, I can't remember which of these plants was $8, but one of them was. Actually, it's the mulberry tree. Sorry, this one was again $12.50. It's a great price. This is a Olea Europea olive. Let's see. Arbequina. Okay. Oh, here's this little tag. Arbequina olive. Cool. Very excited. Those are the ones we can grow here. I'm excited to try it out. I know there's some olive farms in South Georgia. I've never been to one, but I've heard a lot about them, and I think that it's going to be a budding business here. we have a good climate for it in some parts. So I'm excited to try it. It's going to go out into my orchard. It's going to be great. Got to get this guy up potted as well. He's a little tilted, but he'll be fine. He'll grow up real big and tall. Okay. This is the mulberry tree that we picked up. I have wanted a mulberry tree for months now. Months and months, like a couple of years actually. I ordered some cuttings for one off eBay, and I didn't know what I was doing. I could not propagate to save my life, and so they all died. And so I've been waiting to not like waste money on it again. And now I have a dwarf mulberry tree. Let's see, its little tag is right here. And I believe they actually all have tags. I thought there might be some without one, but I think maybe just the passion fruit vine. But this is the dwarf ever-bearing mulberry. Very excited for it. They're fruits. They kind of look like blackberries, but they're quite a bit larger, and they have a citrusy flavor. Really good for you. Just good stuff. Give me 1 second. I gotta go grab the other one. Okay, actually they're in. Even the passion fruit has its own little tag. So this is the purple passion fruit. It is, I didn't think that they could grow here. They're marked as, yeah, I think so. Yeah, the pawpaw cousin, the soursop, is going to be like giant green pineapples. That's what it sounds like when we looked it up. Yeah, I'm curious. I'm so curious if we ever even get fruit on that. Passion fruits, if you look them up, they're listed as growing in zones 10 to 11. Clearly, I'm not in zones 10 to 11, but after speaking with the growers and the people who were shopping there, apparently passion fruit is taking over some local farm areas, so it is growing wild here. So I'm going to let it grow. We're going to see what happens. I'm excited. It's got a beautiful, you can see the photo of the flower here. If I wasn't using my phone to record this, I could even show a photo that I took of a flower while I was there. It was beautiful. Looked just like that. Gorgeous. I'm super excited for this. It's going to take over this like teepee thing that we made with crepe myrtle branches that we had to cut down. So, got to get this up potted as well. The last thing that I got was a the mulberry tree, by the way, was $8. That passion fruit, I believe, was also $12.50 or $8. I can't remember. We also got an apple tree. I wanted an apple tree, and we went shopping earlier in the year, and Lowe's had them, but they had them for $95, and they were too large to fit in my car. I was actually going to get one anyway, because I know that I can propagate off of it now. So I was going to grab, but they were too large to fit in my car, so I couldn't. And then I went to this place today and picked up a, it's called an Alaskan black apple tree. That one I'm not going to show, it's just too large to bring up onto the camera, but that one is, I only paid $26 for it. It was amazing. So, awesome. Alright, so now I'm going to get started potting these up. Because I'm putting them into another pot, and I'm not going to put them into the ground immediately, I'm going to do a potting mix for them, which is slightly different than what you would do for your in-ground mix. Basically, I'm going to be doing a 1-1-1. I'm going to add some compost, some soil, and some peat moss into here. Peat moss is going to be my thing that holds in moisture. And it's going to lock in the moisture there, and then once I water it, I won't have to come out and water it every single day. That's the point of the peat moss. If you don't have that, you may use perlite. You guys have probably seen that before. That's the moisture. Those are the white little ball looking things that you might find in your plants that you get from nurseries and whatnot. So I'm going to get my stuff over here and we'll start dumping it in. I'm going to do my mixture in here. I already have some soil in here. It's just left over from what I was potting up before. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm going to mix it in. I'll add a little bit of fertilizer and some earthworm castings to the mixture as well, and then get all that turned in and mixed in. So let me get that together. And then we'll just start up potting these babies. Get them watered in after that. And then they'll be ready to sit there for the next, however long it takes me to get around to them. You just got to make sure, I do got to come out and check on it. You want to make sure that, you know, they don't dry out. We do have very hot springs and summers here, and they can dry out very quickly. So I'll have to stay on top of that. Let me get something to carry all this stuff in. I'll just use this. Whoops. So again, it's going to be a 1 to 1 to 1. So I'm going to use this to measure with. So I'll do one thing of this of peat moss, one thing of this of soil, one thing of this of, heck yeah. Yes ma'am, it's too damn hot. You're absolutely right. And then one thing of this of compost. Alright. Yes. So if you missed, I found a really good plant nursery today. And I went out there and I got me a whole bunch of stuff. I only spent $130 and I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 trees. I got 8 trees. I can't believe that. It's amazing. I haven't been to a good nursery like that and I don't know how long. Like, you used to see local nurseries everywhere, and then at that time, you know, you go to Lowe's and Home Depot and they'd have their plants super cheap. And now the local nurseries have all kind of dwindled down around here. But Lowe's and Home Depot's plants have gone up, so so it was just great to go here and see this place. They had really good price on all their vegetables too, just, you know, their seasonal vegetables. Zucchini, awesome! My squash is just taking off. I do not, dude. I just don't. The only local place that we really have is, well, you know what, I'm not gonna do that, but not many. This is the only local place that I know of that's an actually, like, not somebody's house. You know, like around here we have a lot of nurseries that are people's houses, and then other places that are viewed as local, but they're actually a chain. So, you know. Yeah, 40 minutes, exactly. That's way better than the hour it takes. Let me go get this peat moss. I'll be right back. I'm going to add some earthworm castings. So set that here. one. Not crazy. Alright, let me go get one more of those. So I'm going to do two. So. Shh, quiet, Keith. Oh dear. Oh, okay. So, it's a lot of concentration. Okay? Okay. Okay. Alright. Whew. Yeah, girl. Enjoy the cool while we got it. Hell. I think I was saying something to Grim the other day about how he was saying he likes to get in his hot tub, you know, on summer nights or whatever, and I was like, man, it just does not cool down out here during the summer, so not for me, but maybe during the winter I'd love to have a hot tub, but man. Right now, though, we got them nice, cool, you know, spring going into summer nights, so it's alright, but soon it's going to heat up. I am not looking forward to that, but it'll be alright. We did 2 parts peat moss, so we're doing 2 parts topsoil. This is part 1 and 2. Okay, part 2 of the topsoil. Sorry. At least you can hear. Means you can hear me dying too. That's nice. Okay, finally 2 parts. Compost. This is compost and manure mixture. You can just do compost. You can do manure. You know, use what you want. If I had any more compost, I don't right now. If I had any more compost, I wouldn't be using store-bought. I'd be using that and no manure, but, you know, I kind of wanted to go a little crazy. And again, this is 2 parts peat moss, 2 parts soil, 2 parts compost and manure. And I will actually also be adding some earthworm castings in, which is a, you know, it's worm poop too, but that's going to be for a fertilizing thing. So is this compost here. It does have good nutrients. It's good organic material. I just want to have a good mixture, a good option, you know. Part 1 and 2 are compost and manure. Okay. Oh, I'll tell you what is the temperature right now? I'm curious. Let's see. .72 with 89% humidity. Fuck off. God. You know, if you ever want to visit Japan but don't know what to wear and it's summertime, take a trip down to Georgia first. You can get that humidity test. Okay, part 2 of the compost and manure. Okay. Now I'm going to mix this in, and then I'm going to add some fertilizer and some earthworm castings to it. And then that's going to be our potting mixture. I might just wet it down just a little bit. I'm not going to do too much because I'm going to water it in real good after I plant this. And these plants have all come, they got watered earlier. They were very well taken care of, watered very, very well at this nursery. So they've got quite a bit of very moist dirt around them right now. And I don't want to waterlog them, so anyway. Get this mixed in, and then we're going to come back to it. 73 in your office. Oh, yeah. Yes, ma'am. So how's your week been, Pro? I know it's been crazy lately with all the stuff going on anyway. Mix this up. nose itch. Let's see, it's been busy. Yeah. Dance recital. Woo! Oh man. It's amazing you find time to do any of this other shit, man. That's a lot. Well, just to keep track of. I'm so flaky, I can't. God. Ugh. But I guess when you have kids, you're forced to kind of get over that whole thing. Oh yeah. Oh, I bet. I'd have to. Like, I got tickets to go to that Stardew Valley concert thing, and I told Nate, I was like, you gotta set a couple of reminders, because I'm gonna forget. And it's literally like just a month before my birthday, to the day. Like, anyway. My birthday is October 25th, and that concert is September 25th. Like, I should be able to remember this, but I will absolutely forget that I have tickets to that. I'm just flaky. I'm real bad at that shit. But man, you keep it together. Holy hell. And you play games. And you play games. Scott lucked out. He did. I think y'all are great. Toss. I want to make sure I get this peat moss mixed in really well to this other soil and compost so that the moisture is evenly kept. You don't have any big old waterlogged spots or spots missing. Peat moss, to hold moisture, so dry spots, so on and so forth. You're like, why are you obsessing? Because if I don't get this in this year, I want this to be able to grow for the next year, and I don't want to have any issues with it, because I don't want it to die. So hopefully I'll get it all in this year, but you just never know. Shit comes in and takes over your time. Yeah. I hear you. I think if Nate didn't take care of a lot of the order stuff, I would be a mess. Just be like all over the place. Alright. Using fertilizer, I use Hollytone, which is a 4:3:4 NPK ratio. It's an organic granular fertilizer. Your organic granulars are slow release fertilizers. They're not available to your plants immediately. They're available to it after a couple of months when they start breaking down. So, just a little info to have. You want to keep your fertilizer ratios for your potting soils and stuff, because these are general mixtures, as close to a 5-5-5, a 4-4-4, a 3-3, even, as close to even as possible. A 4-3-4 is perfectly fine, a 5-4-5, a 5-4-3, as close to even as you can get. It's not like a hard rule, just a good one to maintain. Keep in mind, I'm going to add a little bit more, because it's a lot of soil. I'll get some more from the back later. That's pretty good for now. Oh, don't die. Okay. Oh, almost tripped. Holy cow. So I'm going to add some of these earthworm toxins. I believe, let me see if it lists their NPK ratio, because I think they do have one. It's very low though. Yeah, this is a 0.5, 0.03, 0.5. So, good little natural manure to put in. Just gonna sprinkle that in. mix all that in so it's immediately available. Or not immediately, but mix it into the soil. And I'm going to wet it down a little bit. And then I'm going to mix it again, and then we'll start potting up. And I'll kind of go over the plants. I don't know. I like some of these were obviously impulse buys, so I don't know a whole lot about all of them, but I know a little bit about some of them. Getting in here, mixing this up by hand. I want to make sure there's all good and mix it in here. I'll go grab the watering hose and I'll be right back. We get a little damp and then we'll mix it in. Do the same thing again. And I don't really need to get this too damp. It's not super dry or anything. And the plants again have wet soil around them, so I don't want to overdo it here. Plus I'm going to water them in once they're all transplanted and up potted, so this also for me kind of pre-preps me for when I put them in the soil, because the I have to, you know, get the hole dug out about twice as wide as the pot that it comes in, and you know, I'm in the soil there a little bit. I don't do too much, but I do some. I do want it to become accustomed to my native soil, but I want to have a good start at the same time, so I don't like go all out, but I do some amending. So this is a perfect amount to amend the soil with as I transplant it out there, so good stuff. With bugs. Oh girl, yeah. Yeah, I have a tent with netting. The main part is unzipped, but yeah, like he said, I put in a perennial garden, wildflower garden last year, the year before last, something like that. Well, anyway, this year it finally took off and I got a ton of flowers, and I had just all kinds of dragonflies, so I think they're eating the mosquitoes, because I really hadn't been getting killed yet. You know, as soon as I say that, I know I'm going to start getting bit everywhere, but I don't want the bad karma. I'm just saying, perennial wildflower garden, do it. Lots of benefits. These ecosystems work so well together if you can work with them. The Barbados cherry that I picked up, I'm very interested in that one because it has so much, I believe that's the one Nate was looking at. It has so much vitamin C in it. That it has like more per, I can't remember what exactly that, what was it, Nate? Which one did we get that had all the vitamin C you were looking at? Oh, sorry. We treat our yard for ticks and mosquitoes. Yeah. I think they might treat like the neighborhood once a year. Like I think I saw that thing going around. I try not to use anything like that in the back where all the food is growing. But yeah, I mean, them woods in the back are pretty crazy. We have some deer ticks, that's for sure. Ugh. But yeah, I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. Sometimes it's wild, but looking back now, like, for example, when I was little, I lived with my grandma for a long time, and she had a trailer, right, that was down this long dirt road. It was on this clearing of land where there was, like, maybe a couple trees, and it butted up to a pond. Yeah. It butted up to a pond, and we had mosquitoes out the ass all the time. You would just get ate the fuck up anytime you went outside. And looking back, I'm like, yeah, obviously. We did not plant, they had cut back so much of those woods and everything, that there was nothing, like, conducive to the bugs that ate the mosquitoes, you know. It's wild. Anyway. Yes, like 10 times an orange per cherry. That's what it is. The Barbados cherries have more vitamin, like 10 times an orange. So hopefully those will grow. I mean, that's a good healthy thing to have. Probably going to be very tough, very citrusy. But we'll see. We will see. I think we're about wet enough here, at least on some of this parts. I can see the soil starting to slowly clump together on its own. That's kind of all I'm going to go for. Just a little bit of clumpage. Man. At least it's starting to cool off out here. Holy hell. It rained last night. Or it rained this morning, one or the other. So we got up, we went to the garden center, or the nursery, and it was kind of shady, a little cool, you know, because it rained or whatever. And then as we are turning the corner to go to the tree section, the sun just, it just comes out, it just drapes us, and blasting heat, and like, it was almost as if there was fog around the nursery. Like, they had been watering that morning, and all the plants, all the water just, it was like humidity out the ass immediately. It was so hot. Oh my god. And then I went to the greenhouse part of it, and I was just like, oh god, get me out of here. Alright. They also, the one thing that they did have too, that I will say that I absolutely loved, is they had you could get free pots there. You can recycle your pots. You can drop pots off if you don't want them, or you can get them. I got a bunch of big old pots just so I could do this project. So, my socks are pink. Oh yeah, girl. Sorry. Hang on. I'm not. We're just gonna do this, I reckon. Hang on. Just for you, Pro. It's Sailor Chibi Moon from Sailor Moon. There you go. It is. $5. $5. $5. Oh, these are stuck together. Come on. Ugh. I'm not fine with that right now. Passion fruit. That's actually not very large. I'm not going to do that one. Does that even have drainage? Yeah, a little bit. 1, 2. 4. Yep. Shut up. 6, 7. I do have a sock collection. Yeah. I like socks. I have socks that you put lotion in. You can, keep your feet soft. I like socks. I like socks. Okay, I'm gonna get this out of the way for now. Alright, so I reckon I'll start with the olive. So this is the Arbequina, I think it's called, olive. That's fair. You're like Ed from Cowboy Bebop. Ed couldn't wear socks. She'd fall over if she did. Anyway, just a little fun fact there. So I got this Arbequina olive for $12.50. That's quite an upgrade. We're gonna upgrade. We're gonna do a little upgrade here and try and get it to plant straight this time. And this is this little metal tag. They all have these beautiful little metal tags that say exactly what they are, so you can put them out there with your plants. Oops. There we go. It's awesome. I have a little journal, basically a garden journal, that I save all my stuff in, so I keep the tags of all the perennial and plants and trees that I buy. I try to keep a map of names of what everything is in the garden, because I will absolutely lose track. I can't remember everything, and when I'm going through and trying to plan what's going to be coming in, I need to be able to look up what the name is so I can find out, like, when does this flower here, because you'll have plants that flower early in the season or late in the season and so on and so forth. So if you want to plant your garden, I highly suggest you get yourself a journal and you go through, when you get your permanent and perennial plants, write down the names and the info about them. Oh girl. Yeah. Well, I honestly, when I was in college, I got really into shoes and fashion and stuff for a while, so I'm not really into it anymore, but I do like myself some. I have an eye for some shoes. I have put that addiction to rest, thank God. But, whew, I used to spend some money on shoes for no reason. I just thought they were awesome. Anyway. I'll be doing that. Shoes. Oh my God. Shoes. Alright, let me get this out of this pot. So I like to roll. I don't know what method you use. I use the rolling method. And I basically try and dislodge it from the side here without messing with the roots too much. You don't want to pull on your stem too much when you're taking these trees out, even if they are like hard like this. You can damage the roots. That's a problem. You have feeder roots that come off the top of trees. You really don't want to destroy those while you're taking these out. So just little tidbits. You roll it like this. Loosen it up a little bit. Get that out. So that is very root bound. I'm going to do a little bit of work here to try and make sure that when I get this into its new pot, that it does not continue to grow in spirals. This is root bound, so they've had it in this very small pot. The roots are growing in on themselves in a spiral. If you don't take care of that, they will continue to do that. So I'm going to do a couple slices here, shake this up a little bit, repot it, uppot it, and hopefully they will grow out into the soil that I get in. And I'm going to try and go ahead and get this into the ground as fast as I can. Just make a mental note that this plant is ready to go in to the ground. It needs some help. I think deer jumping the fence. It's freaking me out. Anyway. Try and tease these out some. Actually, I'm going to try not to cut it. I prefer not to cut them. Some people will cut them. I prefer not to. I'm just trying to... Yeah. Oh, yeah. There are actually some companies that are swapping to a rectangular or square planting pot now to try and stop the root binding problem. But you're going to run into the same issues. The problem is that if they swap to a... Oh, there we go. If they swap to a square pot and they don't get it to sell fast enough, and and they don't if they don't get it to sell fast enough, then the plant's going to hit its wall in the square ones, and eventually it's going to be like, oh, okay, I have nowhere to go, and die. So, you know, that's the issue in and of itself. I actually got a rose bush for cheap the other day because they had a situation like that going on. Anyway, so I am going to come through and cut these just a little bit. There we go. Just open that up. Just ever so slightly. Definitely don't want to kill your plant, but you just... Down here is where we're gonna kind of, so if you can see that, go at it. So I'm just gonna do a couple of slices here, just like that. Not too much. Wake it up, scratch it up, and then that's how we're gonna plant it. Wipe your booby off, and then you gotta trim this one up before I pop it in there. You can kind of watch this process a little bit, I guess. I'm going to take off branches that I don't think are needed. I think they're kind of weak, and I'm probably going to remove them later anyway. The reason I'm going to go ahead and trim this up, you wouldn't normally trim during this time of year, but I'm uppotting it. I'm already going to be sending it into a sort of a transplant shock type situation, so I can go ahead and cut this with very few worries that it's going to cause any issues, because it's going to be focusing on rerooting rather than repairing or having to deal or being stressed out by anymore by being trimmed at the same time. So I have a real weak branch right here. I'm going to go ahead and take that off. There we go. So I'm going to take off this one. There we go. This is a branch to nothing. I don't want a central branch at all. This is trying to, your trees will try to be, or you're going to want to try to grow a leader stem, your trees will. And if you want sunlight to be able to hit, you want to basically make a cup so that sunlight can hit these inner branches and that all of these have a chance to produce fruit. So I'm going to cut this center one off down. I'm going to make sure that I do my best to keep this as a cup going forward. So Not only am I going to take that off, I'm also going to remove some of these branches that are coming inward, or going inward. If you can, I don't know if you can actually see this, hang on. I might have to, there we go, okay. So some of these, some of these stems are growing inward, and I want to have a sunlight come down and hit everything on the inside. So I'm going to remove anything that's growing in, basically. And then I'm going to take off a crossing branch here. Oh. Alright, we got two, actually. And I will be propagating some of these, or trying to propagate some of these. And I'm just going to clean it up on the bottom. Oops, you can see those lower ones off. Any dead, disease looking branches, anything that might look like it's going to be an issue in the future, go ahead and just take them off. There we go. Now, I did remove a lot of the inside branching here, but that's going to allow sunlight to get down to these areas really well. And later on, I'm definitely going to come through and trim up these, but I'm just going to do it at a later date for now. This is good to start. Compost bin. Okay. Let's see how we want this to go. I need to plant it at an angle, ever so slightly. Yes. And I'm going to plant it slightly high in my pot. I'm not going to plant it low or level. I'm going to make sure that the top part of this, with the feeder roots that I was talking about, the ones that look for air, top moisture, nutrients, all that stuff, are slightly above the rest of the soil line. So let me get a little bit more soil in here. I'm just lightly packing in. I'm not doing it too hard or anything. I did pack in at the bottom just to make sure it was good and there was no air pockets. Stepping back and checking. Sorry, I'll move that forward a little bit. So that looks fairly decently in there. I like it. So I'm going to come in and backfill. Oops. My cup has just worked its way into the way. Just coming through, backfilling, packing in lightly. I'm not pressing down real hard. It might look like I am, but I'm not. I'm just very lightly packing that in. Making sure there's no air pockets. That's kind of the main thing. No giant air pockets, because when you mix, you know, soil and dirt and all that stuff, you are putting in a lot of air. And you just don't want straight pockets of air touching your roots. So. Looking real good. A little bit more. And again, I have it slightly raised in the center. Just a little bit. I'm so excited for that cherry bush. Heck yeah! Me too. Me too. A little bit of loose mixture on top. We're just going to tap that in a little bit. Nothing really too big. Remember, your soil's going to settle some. Just keep that in mind. From your initial planting, potting up, it always does. So just keep that in mind while you're doing this. I'm trying to keep a little bit more in there. Be ready to push out and fill in. So it's always a little more than you think. That looks real good. Okay. He looks less lopsided. Heck yeah. What code? Oh, ha ha ha. Okay, sorry. I'm dumb. I totally did not get that. Okay. Again, awesome nursery. This is the Arbequina olive. Let me see. Here we go. There we go. Arbequina olive. This is going to go with the plant. You know. You know. I'm going to loop this around the plant so that I don't lose it. And then we will plant it with it when it goes out. Save me from having to keep these, and I think these are so cute, but they are strictly just decorative. So, alright. That's good. Tap that in. Get this out of the way. My gardening gloves came up to my elbows, and Scott saw them earlier and accused me of wearing armor. And said I needed some magic. That's really funny. I have some sleeves that I wear that block, like they block you from getting scraped by like the pricklies on cucumbers and all kinds of squash and stuff like that. And I look like I'm getting suited up whenever I go to put those on and start to head out. My gloves are real small. If I'm lucky, if I even remember to put them on. I'm gonna go ahead and trim these up. I'm gonna try and propagate some of these while I'm here, because they're some hardwood cuttings. Why not, right? You do what you do. Boop. Boop. Cucumbers have pricklies? Absolutely, yeah. The vines do, and sometimes the fruit does. You know, they tend to rub them off. Yes, yes, yes. I'm about to show it right now. Yeah, do a little bit of hormone propagation. This is technically the propagation station. I can show you what it looks like in a second. Yeah, I do a little bit of rooting powder. These are all good branches, I think, to try them out because, I mean, they're small. Don't get me wrong. I know they're very small compared to a lot of the propagation branches that you kind of want, but they have a ton of leaves. And if you propagate, you know that where the hormone, the rooting hormone that you're looking for, comes out of nodes where the leaves are. So the more leaves you have, or the more leaves you have, the more leaf nodes you have, the more chance you have of getting a root off of the tree branch. So I have accidentally propagated quite a few, but let me get my thing out. Give me 1 second. I'm going to use this one that I started the other day. Okay. I'm going to use this one that I started the other day. So these are my, let's see, blueberry. This is plum. This was something. Oh, these are the azaleas. Let me write that down so I don't forget. And then I'm going to stick my propagation babies in here. I'm going to wind up forgetting these, so if you're like, man, you're going to forget, hell yeah I am. Don't get me wrong. So these are azaleas. I'll just use, that's how you create 2 things from 1. Alright. Azalea. Gonna do right here. And then this is gonna be olives. Olives. We're gonna try and keep those right up this side because I might have some more propagation things. This is the rooting powder that I use, or hormone powder, whatever you want to call it. Take root. So I'll run through this real fast. I'm going to take off the leaves from every node. Boop, boop. We'll just do that then up until the last like 2 or so. So because I'm damaging the plant, it's now sending a signal through the rest of the plant to say, hey, we need to repair down here. And with any luck, when they go to repair, they'll see that they're in the ground, dark, you know, and they'll say, oh, you know what? Rather than a repair, we need a root. That's the idea. So now I'll stick this into the rooting powder. And I've covered quite a few of those nodes, those leaf nodes that I was talking about, with the rooting powder. Let's see, is this even? And those have our highest chance of getting some roots. So now I'm going to get my little tool to make a poke, and I'll shove it in the sand. And I use just regular play sand. There's nothing else in here. It's play sand. And then once I see that something has rooted, I can come dig that out very easily and not disturb the new roots too much. So that's why I use sand instead of, dirt. I do have some with dirt though, don't get me wrong. I just make a little hole. And I shove this bad boy down in there, and I'm going to do that a couple more times. Oh, I'm filthy. Alright. I like to go ahead and get these in because sometimes you can forget which direction the things are if you don't go ahead and take care of it. So, oh yeah, I just rooted my, so I had to prop it. I got 2 prolific kiwis last year, and only one of them made it through the winter. So this year, like a month and a half ago, my other kiwi finally started growing again. So I went out, hang on one second, and trimmed off. I actually have a propagation live that I did the other day that has this entire thing, the whole process on there. But anyway, I cut off a little chunk of my kiwi and shoved it in the ground. This was the one leaf it had on it, pop that down here, originally. And then this is all the new growth off the propagation. So it propagated really well. I just up potted it. It wasn't a clear one, so you could see the new roots coming in. But yeah, so that saved me from having to go buy another kiwi. That's the best thing about propagation, I think. Just saves you so much money. Alright. So I got those trimmed off. I'm only leaving the top 2. You don't want to leave moisture. It gets pulled out of the plant via the leaves. So you don't want to leave too big of a leaf or too many leaves at the top. So, little hole. Pop that down in there. These are very tiny branches, so the chance of propagation is not super high, but I've seen crazier things. Let me just, stop myself. It can happen. And trim this up. Yeah, I did do that. Because when I was trimming up that pear, I was thinking it'd be funny to shove that in the ground because it just looked like a little tree, and then it grew into a little tree. Well, I didn't know really what propagation was at the time. I was just like, what the hell is going on? Okay. Hope y'all are having a good night. I've had a great day. It was so nice to go to a nursery that actually had decent looking plants that, didn't look like they were struggling and almost ready to fall over as soon as you got it. I know when I got an orange tree home the other day, I had to do some emergency surgery on it and get some good soil in there and all that other stuff, just because sometimes this was one from Lowe's, and sometimes they just, because those aren't their plants, they're coming from an outside nursery, they sometimes just don't take the best care of them, so it's kind of annoying. So this was cool. It's cool to not have extra work. No, I don't know. Send me a picture. Where is it at? Or was it in the picture channel? I'll go check later if it was. Unless you want to send it to me on Discord. I wish I could listen to music out here. So instead I'll just fill this void with all of my talking. Sorry. Okay. I need a little radio. Let me also say, you don't want to shove every single one of your leaf nodes in the ground too. I only put up about that many. I make sure to leave some nodes above the ground so that the new growth has a place to grow out of. Because that's again where your new growth, your repair growth is going to come from. The leaf nodes are very important. And if you're wondering, they usually grow. This one, an olive, is neat because it grows in pairs across from each other, like this, where it is constantly slightly turning. But if you look at the pairs closely, you'll find that they go in a Fibonacci spiral as they grow, just, you know, slightly turning, spiraling as they grow up the plant. Anyway, just neat things. Fibonacci spirals are quite common in nature. They're very beautiful all the same, if you're into that sort of thing. Golden ratio. Yeah, absolutely. Hashtag golden ratio. I was obsessed. Like in college, I was obsessed with the golden ratio. Oh, let me take a look. I wrote an entire, like, paper on it. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's beautiful. Begonias. Very nice. Very nice. Rooting powder into the soil it go. I'm going in this weird 2-1-2-1 pattern. I don't know what I'm just having some fun here. With a lot of this stuff, like this is just cuttings. This is otherwise getting thrown away. So I'm losing nothing by trying to propagate this out. So it's like, oh, the chances, that's such a small one. The chances of that, you know, getting propagated are so short. Yeah, absolutely. But at least I'm giving it a shot, right? This is just otherwise going to go into the compost, so who cares if it doesn't quite work. Oh, I dented my... That's what happened. I dented my trimmers, Nate. I need to get some more. Get some rooting hormone and sand. Yes, ma'am. And then I just have... So... I have 2 tubs right here. The top tub has the sand and holes in the bottom for drainage. These happen to have like a foot on the bottom so that you can stack them and they won't sit flat against the next one. But if you don't have that, I have another one down here that I put rocks in the second tub so that just had a drainage area. And you just keep it moist. Keep it out of the sun. I keep it under this table. And this is my propagation table. So everything is propagating underneath here, out of the sun, in the open air. I don't keep humidity domes on it, although you can. Yeah. It's fun. I keep grabbing them to use them for other things I should not use them for, and denting and wearing down the blade. Ah, don't do that. Alright. Trim. Okay, perfect. This is a big one. I have high hopes about this one. Little garden wire. We didn't have the trimmer, the cutter. Into the soil you go. Pat, pat, pat. Didn't know this was going to be a propagation video. I actually didn't think I'd be doing this, but they have such good branches to use, so I don't want to waste them. I can't wait for that apple tree to produce. Yeah, it's, you know, just gotta have something sometimes, and sometimes it's 100 fucking degrees, and, sorry, 100 degrees, and you don't want to traipse across the entire yard to go back inside to try and, you know, find the right cutter. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, you know. At least I'm not, I've given up my life of crime. Just gotta say that. For now, anyway. You should not take tree cuttings without the consent of building officials, especially at the post office. But you know, a lot of your post offices, if you were curious, are surrounded by beautiful, beautiful Yoshiro cherry trees donated to the United States and propagated over here from Japan. So if you happen to get yourself some cuttings of those, they are very beautiful trees. And I might have some soon, so it's okay. You know, if you just get, like, it's like, you know, I'm just going to get myself one of those little orange vests, you know, the worker vests, and a little orange hat, and I'm going to have my trimmers, and I'm just going to be trimming, and nobody's going to know. Nobody's going to think a thing of it. They're just going to be like, oh, she works for the city. And then I'll go during the day, and then it won't look so weird. Heck yeah. I'm the arborist. It's like the day propagation clicked for me. I decided that that was the day that I needed to start gathering up tree trimmings. There's this Asian market near here that the owner, I think, or somebody that works there, I believe, planted a persimmon tree right out front, right in the parking lot, and it's in between, like, decorative dogwood trees that were obviously planted there when they built the parking lot or whatever. But this persimmon tree, it's only one, it's only one, that's another giveaway, is right across from the opening of this market. So, and the market's busy as hell, like constantly busy. So I decided that the best time to get a cutting of this persimmon tree was definitely at 1 in the morning, because then nobody was in the parking lot, you know. They wouldn't, like, I'm not doing anything wrong. I'm not hurting the tree, but people would have weird, I don't know, they'd look at you weird if they were there, so just didn't want to be seen, you know. Anyway. So that's nice. I'll put that here, up here. I'll put that up for now. Slide that over there. Hang on, we're gonna garden while we garden. Give me 1 second. Excuse me. Alright, cool. That was the olive tree. Now we're going to do the, let's see. I think I'll do the soursop next. What's this guy? It's related to the pawpaw. Like a South American cousin, and it's a custard apple flavor, or part of the custard apple family of fruit. It's like a texture / flavor profile, so I'm excited to give it a try. I've never had one. I don't even know if we can grow them. This is a tester to see if this will even grow. It might not. It may never produce fruit. And that's okay. It was only $12.50, so I've only lost 12 bucks if it doesn't. I am perfectly fine with that. That is an excellent buy. I'm going to do it my best to give it a good environment. If it gets too cold in the winter, I'm going to come out and wrap it, again with straw and all the other stuff, and try to make sure that I give it the best chance I can. But it is a more tropical fruit, so it may not grow. It may not ever produce fruit, but we're going to try. If not, it may just be a pretty tree, and I'm fine with that. I love pretty trees too. I typically like my trees to be useful as in fruit bearing or useful to the environment, something like that. I like oak trees a lot for that reason. But I can just also have a beautiful big old tree for funsies. Alright, we got a little bit of soil in here. Let's see, is that a dry fit? Looks about right. Again, I'm going to plant this a little high. I want the feeder roots to be able to reach out and stretch out of here. So this soil is quite a bit more loose, so I'm going to try to take this off holding it up instead of rolling it. Yep, there comes some. Beat on the bottom a little bit. Oh. I'm trying not to break its little pot, but there we go. Oh, this one is not nearly as root bound as the other one. Looking really great. Roots look healthy. The soil's quite wet, which is exactly what I was talking about. So I'm going to knock off some of these little grass seeds that have popped up and then get this into its new pot. But no root binding here. Nothing to really worry about as far as that goes, so that's awesome. That means that this one can sit in this container for a little while I, find a good permanent home for it. Always love to see that. Sitting up tall, and come in and backfill. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm not as unfriendly as they say. Backfill this in here. Just a little bit. The feeder roots are actually right there. And this kind of slid out, so I'm going to push it down. Try and help it stay a little deeper in there so that it stays upright. Okay, cool. I'm not going to be doing any trimming really to this one. I don't see much to take off. So it's looking pretty good on its own. Lightly pack it in. I'm not trying to break anything here or compact soil. Once I get it in the ground, you can tamp around tree soil pretty hard, but just for this, we're good. You don't want anything crazy. Sometimes I've been out here at night working on garden stuff and seen like raccoons and armadillos and stuff out here. One time there was an armadillo up on the porch, freaked me the hell out. But quite the wildlife in the area. Anyway, that looks pretty good. So this is my soursop. It's now up potted. Hopefully we can keep it here for a season or so. I'll set it over here with the other one for now. Soursop's apparently being looked at more and more now for medicinal qualities. So I reckon people are looking to grow it more. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Next I'm going to move to my passion fruit vine, which is apparently growing wild all around here. That's interesting. This is technically listed as a zones 10 to 11 plant, but it's apparently growing wild around here, so that's what the flower looks like and the fruit generally. So I'm gonna plant this in. I have a spot for it already. It's got some beautiful tendrils, so should be ready to go. This guy, yeah, this looks pretty good. Huh? Okay. So yeah, let me get some soil into here and we can get this passion fruit up potted. I'm very excited to try that. I've never had it before. Just gonna dry fit real quick. It's decent actually. Alright. Use the sides. Get to loosen up, especially from the bottom. You can hear its little tag stating what beautiful plant this is. I love the idea of these metal tags. I just can't get over it. I think they're great. Love it. Oh, great. There's sort of dirt in my eyebrow. This is a very delicate vine. It's a green vine. It's not hard or barky. So I want to be extra careful here. Oh, these roots look great. Oh, they look excellent. Drop some of the topsoil. That's okay. So this is what we got for rootage so far. You can see the little ends spiraling out. Looks really good. This is gonna be great. This is gonna take off. This is growing really, really good. I love good rootage. Rootage. I'll knock some of that topsoil down. Then I'll come back and fill in. I'm going to backfill this over here because it's a little bit smaller of a space and I don't want to get it all over the table, the soil I mean. Pack that in a little bit so that the soil touches those roots and sends that signal that, hey, climb up in me. I've got space for you. Don't freak me out. Pack that in just a little bit. Spread some more soil out. This guy's gonna grow up real big. He's taking over this little teepee trellis that I built out of crepe myrtle branches, or technically Nate built really, but I just kind of have ideas and then Nate's like, okay, sure. So he helped me build this little teepee trellis and we're going to have this passion fruit vine take over that. So that looks real good. Oh my god, Becky with the good hair. Yeah, exactly. So this is up potted now. Beautiful passion fruit vine. We'll get that watered in. I'll set it over here. Starting to go a little faster now, so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But I'm gonna start getting through these. It's, you know, we start to go faster when we start working a little better. So this is a camellia tea tree. So I'm gonna grow my own tea leaves. These are green. They can oxidize to make black tea. So this is my black tea tree, basically. This one is also planted sideways. We're going to try and correct that. Plant it a little more up. All the other ones show their flowers and stuff. This one just has a picture of a teapot with some tea, so that you know there's a tea tree. Doesn't have an identifier. No. Okay, this one doesn't have a metal identifier. So, first of all, I'm going to ask for one. Second of all, I got to make a note that I mark down which plant this is because I don't want to leave that little plasticized piece of paper with it. So, cool. I'm also going to trim this one up a little bit. It's growing kind of wonky, so we want to try and fix this as much as we can. He's got great growth, just a little wonky, that's all. I think he's going to be root bound, which is interesting, but we'll find out. and then dry fit. It's pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more soil for right now. Just a little bit. I don't want to do too much. Okay. Hey Graham, how are you? You having a good night? That looks like it's going to sit quite a bit better in here. So let's squeeze the sides. Get this guy out. He's actually in a double pot. This is his real pot. It's a very small one, but I'm going to make use of it. And it's going to be root bound like a motherfucker. Look at that. So we're going to have to do a little bit of work on this one. Let me set this down here. And we can start working on this guy. I'm going to have to come through and sort of probably cut open this root ball a little bit and see if we can make sure he's going to do good in the next one, because those are growing out the bottom pretty bad. And don't pull on the stem too hard, but this one is actually got a good barky stem. I'm not that worried about it. Okay. Oh. Oh man. Okay. The roots have kind of grown through the little drainage holes, so this is definitely an issue you can run into with an older plant that has not been up potted. So this is why we up pot. So we're gonna fight this thing to get it off. Again, we don't want to pull on the stem too hard. So I'm just gonna have to sacrifice the pot. Oh, okay. Okay, I'm not worried about cutting the root here because this is obviously, oh yeah, real root down. Oh my gosh. Woo! That's crazy. Jeez Louise. Okay. Good gracious. Alright. Into the trash with you. Alright. Super root bound. It fell out of the pot at some point and then they just kind of pushed it back in there and it grew like this. It definitely wants to grow. It's been trying. Needs a little help, a lot of love. So we're gonna try and see if we can help it not die. Oh gosh. I hate when they let plants get this way. I'm gonna cut an X into the bottom with my box cutter just to open those roots up a little bit, and then I'm gonna look for thicker parts like here, here, try and cut those. I want to stop these as much as I can, stop these roots from growing and spiraling while they grow. Because if I don't stop it now, it's going to do it in the next pot that I put it in. And then if I put it into the ground, it's going to do it there too. And come a bad windstorm, it's not going to have dug into the soil the way that you want it, and it's going to fall over in the ground. So this is how you prevent that. So again, an X on the bottom, because we want to kind of stop those roots from growing in these spirals around and around. I'm going to cut the... I know I'm being mean to the plant, I'm sorry. But this is better for it than... Oh, that's so thick. A lot of the other stuff. This is just a thick ass fucking chunk of root. There we go. Just going to rip it a little bit. Tease these roots. You can be a little mean to him. You can see what he's been dealing with and how he's been growing as it is. So what I'm doing is freeing it up. I'm going to be giving it more nutrients and more soil and more places to grow, more room to grow. So I'm being a little mean to it now for a lot of benefit in the future. I don't know if that's a life lesson, so don't look at it. It's a really hard root area. I don't want that to be there. I don't want there to be a dead chunk either after this, you know, starts establishing and breaks off from its old, ooh, that's so thick, growing style. There we go. We want it to look a little scraggly. We want those roots to reach out instead of around. That's the idea. Okay. That's pretty good. I'm fine with that. Let's gather up our compost. Everything that fell off and cut off and the roots and everything else. We'll pop that into the compost. Let it break down. And we get our new pot. Dry fit. Make sure we can stand it up tall. So we need him to sit about sideways. About like that. That's pretty good. Yeah. Now I'm going to backfill. Oh, God. Just hearing the sound of those ripping roots, like, ugh. Anyway, I hate it. Sorry, plant. Ned. This is Ned. Ned is my tea tree. Ned gives me black tea. He gives me green tea, which apparently the difference is oxidation. I did not know. I was saying magnolia earlier, Nate. Apparently it's a camellia tea tree. I didn't know. This one I'm going to try and get into the ground. Again, making a mental note, or I'll just go back and watch my video, but this one is very root bound. We're going to want to get it into the ground this year if we can. He wants to grow. He needs space to grow. They've been keeping him dwarf, but he wants to be real tall. So I'm going to give him a spot to do it. Pack that in a little bit. With trees, you don't want it to be super loose. So again, I'm not like super compacting the soil in. I'm just pushing it in a little bit and then coming back in. Like tamping in. If you're planting it outside, you'd tamp it in when you were done. Hopefully that's planted pretty good. That's about as level as I can get it, you know. So I think he'll grow up quite a bit better like this. Ned. Oh, Ned. How's y'all's keys going? You having fun? Maybe. Who knows? Alright, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty good. Okay, I need to put a name tag on this one. Ew. Tea tree. I'll have to maybe I can 3D print a tag for this one since it doesn't have a metal one. I thought they all did. I guess they don't. This must be the one that don't. Oh well. Anyway, so that one's up potted now. Trying to decide what branches I might want to take off here while I've got it. So I don't want anything growing nice. I don't want any branches growing into the center. I don't want like crossing branches. I don't want disease branches. So these are all things that I take into account. I'm just going to take a look here and just remove a couple. Let's see. Cool. Good deal. Good deal. We got a lot of crossing branches. Come on. Take that off. And that guy. That guy. Did you get to DPS or were you just healing? What? There's a little fruit on here. Tilt it. Little fruit. What kind of fruit does a little camellia tree? You have to look this up, Nate. There's a little fruit on here. I didn't know it was gonna make fruit. I mean, it makes sense. I just didn't know. I'm gonna remove this center one. This is a big cut. It's okay. We want that center open. This is the camellia tea tree. It has a little fruit on it. I got it for the leaves. I didn't know there'd be fruit involved. Fruit. So many questions now. Oh. Amazing. Anyway. So now we've opened that up. I like that a lot more. So you saw how it was initially. Now we have a nice cup. So our center is open. The sun can get down and hit all of these leaves because really we're growing this for the leaves. So we want to make sure that all the leaves get as much sun and photosynthesis and everything as possible because they breathe through the top, they breathe through the bottom, and we want this to grow big and tall. So a nice cup shape in the center is best for making sure that everything in the center gets lots of airflow and sunlight. So looking real good. I'll set this over here with the other one. Okay, let's get this cleaned off a little bit. So dirty. Alright. Huh? Oh. Okay. Oh, sorry. Let me get these, I'm gonna propagate some of these tea tree cuttings while I got these here. Sorry, losing my train of thought. Let me go ahead and cut these down while I got nothing here. So this idea can be seen. This is a really good branch I'm going to try propagating. It's a good hardwood cutting, so I'm really excited to see if this produces anything. Again, wrong time of season for this. You really do want to do this around winter time when trees have died back a little bit and they're focusing on putting on their roots. But, yeah, whatever. You work with what you got, right? So we're going to leave those two little leaves at top, and I'll just take off the top part because it's not necessary. It's just going to take moisture away from the rest of the tree branch, and we don't want that. I'm also going to, there's a leaf node right here on this, so I'm going to make me a diagonal cut just below it. Pop it into my sand. Let me get my rooting powder. Into the rooting powder it goes. Try and get it on as many nodes as you can. Into the sand to sit and hopefully grow us a new tea tree. I'm gonna go ahead and go with this one too. Just gonna go ahead and chop these up because, and then I'll line them up and then move the thing over here and do it instead of doing it over there. Boop, 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 boop. Sorry, thinking out loud. When you have a big old leaf at the top, a lot of people cut those leaves in half so that it's not losing so much moisture. I don't particularly do that right now. I mean, I have before, but I'm just gonna go and leave it as is because the sand should retain moisture well enough. I water it every day, let it run through. So I dipped it in the rooting powder. Oh, and then I'm gonna set it right here for when I'm ready to put it in the sand. Let's go to the next one. Cut that, and then we're gonna trim this one up. Little guy like that. Take off the bottom little bit here. Set that there. And then we'll do this next one. These have real little leaves, so you want to cut here, here, oh, see here. You see this well enough? Hopefully. Here. Oop. Take that leaf off, that leaf off. Those are the nodes where the leaves are coming out. So if you hear me say leaf node, that's what I'm referring to. That's where the new roots can come out of when you're propagating. Take that top one off and just leave the one leaf at top. Rooting powder. Get these other composty leaves out the way. Oops. Okay. Again, we'll do this guy. We're going to go boop, boop, boop. Just real careful. Oops. Make sure you have better cutters than mine. The better the cutters are, the easier this is. So anyway, take off that one. Take off that one. I'm just leaving the top leaf. I will actually cut this one in half. It's a huge leaf for this tiny little stem. So I'm just going to take that off. I'll leave a little half leaf there. Okay. Next little cutting I took looks like this. So I'm going to make, as you can see, this is older growth and this is newer growth. If you can see where the brown bark ends, the greener, brownish, turning brown, newer bark starts. Oh, sorry, let me bring it down some. This is the older brown bark. This is the newer bark. So this is going to be a cutting by itself, and this will be a cutting by itself. And that's how I'm choosing to do this. boop, boop. I'm just gonna let that be the top. I think that's a great cutting. Lots of leaf nodes at the bottom. Great. Last one. Yeah, I think so. I'm not gonna do that one. So again, same situation. Older growth with harder bark. Newer growth with green that's turning slightly reddish to brown as time goes on. So one cutting, one cutting. Typically, if you get, for example, the blackberry bushes that I get from Costco, they are propagated cuttings. They are made with this same process and then sold. And this is just a way of getting the exact same genetics of the mother plant. If you were to take the fruit, for example, of this and plant it, I'd get a slightly different plant than what I originally started with. But if I were to take a cutting, for example, of a plant, I will get the exact same genetic traits. It'll be the exact same plant. I'm just extending it out. So it's a good way to get many plants, especially if you have like a blackberry bush or a raspberry bush that you happen to like. Well, not raspberry actually, raspberry's crazy prolific, but if you have a blackberry bush that you like, you have a tree that you like, taking cuttings of it and making new things for free is just, oh god, it's like, it's addictive, which I guess is why I'm doing this now. Anyway. I'll just take that one. Look at that single little leaf. It's the last leaf. So rooting powder and line it up. Okay, so we have one that I already put in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cuttings off of that. That's great. I have another one I could do. I just don't like where the leaf node placement is, so I'm not gonna worry about it. This is all gonna go in the compost when I'm done. So back into the soil over there. Get my clothes dirty. Okay. Whew. Slide that back over. This is heavy as hell, Pro, by the way. It's heavy. Anyway, it's wet sand. It's heavy as fuck. Alright. So now we're going to pop these guys into the sand. You're about to hear an airplane because I hear one coming in. I live 30 minutes from the airport, so I'm in a flight path. Although it's being pretty quiet tonight. Yeah. Sometimes they'll come in real low at night and it'll piss me off because I'm like, damn, that's loud as hell. But usually, not too bad. People, one of our neighbors is playing outside. It's cute. Anyway. Late though. Maybe they're having like a camp out. That was so cool. Did y'all do that when you were little? Have like a little tent and go sleep in the backyard? I mostly stayed in apartments, so I used to do the tent thing in the living room, but at one point I did have a backyard and I went and I'd take my tent out there every chance I got. Pack that right in. If you're like, you're going to lose track of what all these plants are, you are absolutely right. Fortunately, I'll have videos to go back and look at. So don't be like me. Keep track of your plants. Do better when you're propagating. Do better with your sorting system and everything. Everything. Alright. Pop that one in here. At least to have some leaves. Yeah, I mean, to a certain degree, yeah. I really wasn't planning on getting tea trees, so I gotta familiarize myself with the leaves, really. I mean, they're so waxy. Oh, they do look just like camellia leaves, I guess. That's cool. That would make sense as well. If you're like, duh. Yeah, I know. I'm working on it, okay? Bear with me. Alright. I'll actually just I'll do this number right here. I'll show you what I'll do, so that I don't forget. This is the tea tree cuttings. I'll pop these on here. And I can put this in the center right here. There. Now I will know that those are the tea tree cuttings. Not this guy. Uh-oh, somebody's getting home. Draw me a little divider in there. Okay. Put that in here. Put that back out of the way for now. Alright, next. Oh. This is a Barbados cherry. Ooh. This is supposed to be slightly sweeter cherry that we can grow here, maybe. It's also going to be a tester one because not entirely sure. It's typically for a warmer climate, but we're going to give it a shot. Hello, moths! So, very excited for that. That's the one with a lot of vitamin C. Dry fit it. That looks pretty good. I'm gonna remove its little picture, even though it's a very lovely picture. And then I don't think I'm not quite that strapped to it, so okay. Might have to do a little bit of my own staking up here. Barbados cherry, otherwise known as the Bajan cherry. Mackerel or West Indian cherry is one of the richest natural sources of vitamin C in existence, around 50 to 100 times than that of an orange or a lemon. 50 to 100 times, not even 10 times. That's crazy. So this is going to be great for... Ooh. Can you give me the dang wire cutter? It's going to be great for health stuff. I just need to cut this. I need to cut this. Help. Help me, I'm dumb. Let me get this out of its pot. I don't like its little... Hello. Oh, hi.
No. Go ahead. Here you go.
Oh, thank you. You're the best. Alright, and we're back. What the fuck was that? Man. Alright. Jungle Tom. Alright. Okay. What a fucking monkey? You wanna hear a crazy story? When we went to Jekyll Island, which is an island off the coast of Georgia. So I grew up on St. Simon's Island. Jekyll Island's the sister island to it. It's just across the little bay there. The sound, I mean, the channel. And when we visited Jekyll Island, we saw a fucking... It was a lemur. It was a lemur. We saw a lemur. And we freaked out because my brain, like, immediately tried to quantify what the fuck I was looking at. And they asked me what it was, and I was like, it's a raccoon. And I know when I was looking, I was like, it's not a raccoon. And I had to, like, delve through the depths of my brain. This was out in the wild, by the way, what that was. And it was a lemur. And then I looked it up. Yes. And then I looked it up, and there was a lemur sanctuary on, is it St. Elizabeth Island? On one of the other islands up the coast of Georgia that caught on fire, and they thought that they caught all the lemurs that got out, but obviously they didn't. And just wild. It was either St. Christine or something, I don't know, one of those other islands. They built this lemur sanctuary because they were like, well, we think that this is a similar enough habitat and climate that they can live here. And not only can they definitely got out, because I would not have looked that up otherwise. I would not know this information had I not seen that lemur. Oh, okay, it's a party over there. Thank God. Alright. Scared the hell out of me. But we're good. So we're rolling this out. They're having a good time. Oh, excuse me. So we'll get this out of the pot. Oh, the soil's very, very loose, so I gotta be careful. I really don't want to pull this by the stem. It's like harder, older wood, but it is soft. It's not held down by much right now, so I gotta be a little careful here. Oh, okay. Okay. So we have very early stages of some root binding, but nothing that can't be very corrected right now. We have otherwise exceptionally healthy roots. They look really good. Very, very good. Very excited for this. So I'm just going to break this up just a little bit, just to encourage it to grow again out, down, and around, rather than just straight around. Just rub it just ever so slightly. I'm not doing nearly what I was doing before. These are much tender, more tender roots. So, alright, we lost the bottom. That's okay. We're going, well, kind of don't want it to sit that low, so I'm going to put the bottom bits into here. Oh, it's just coming apart. Alright, that's fine. We're gonna fix that in there. Will your butt quit falling out? Put this in here, not gonna waste it. Build up a center so I can sit that on top of it now. Oh, yeah. If your butt falls out your plant, like the center, to just build you up a little mound, and you know, you're gonna rest it on top of there, so build you a little booby and put it on there. And I'm gonna backfill. Standing butt, exactly. If your butt falls out, clap your hands. I don't know. Alright. I'm packing this in pretty good. And when you mix your soil up, you add in a lot of air. And while some air in the soil is good, you want to have some aeration. You do not want your roots strictly touching air. You want it to be like in, you know, soil waves. You want it to only be very small amounts. So I'm going to pack it in a little bit when you're going back. Not super hard or anything. You're not trying to win a contest. You're just tapping it in a little bit. Making sure that there's no big old air pockets in the soil. Okay, and now I have this staked up for stability at the place, so I'm going to do that too. They use this Mamma Jamma. So that's, I reckon, what I'm going to use. I'm just going to do it, huh? Alright, here we go. Just going to shove it in. Here we go. Pick the spot. Damn, I don't like that spot anymore. This spot. Okay. That's pretty sturdy. We'll pack that in around it. I need my gloves off so I can get a little more intimate with it. Brush that off. Pat that in ever so slightly. Was that a train? No. A big stupid horn. Alright. I hear a lot of weird shit at night. Anyway. So now I'm gonna attach him to this stabilizing post here. Help it grow big and tall. I like to use my garden twine, my garden wire. It's very effective. So we got that bedding on there. That's going to hold it in place. I'm going to fold it in so it looks like that in the back and doesn't get caught on anything. You can actually, it's wire, you can push it down. So this looks good. I'm going to leave it as it is. There's not a whole lot that I want to remove or anything for right now. It's a rather small plant, so actually I am going to take off this one branch. I don't like this branch. It's hanging down. It's not healthy. It's towards the bottom of the plant. Well, it's not that it's not healthy. It's fairly healthy, but it's going to break. It's at the very bottom of the plant as well, and I want to remove anything on the bottom. So let me go ahead and get that branch off. This is my Barbados cherry. Beautiful. I'm also going to take off this very bottom one while I'm down here. As close to my stem as I can. Okay. There. And that frees up the very bottom of this plant. It won't have leaves touching the dirt, which can cause disease. So that's great. So that looks good. It's done. I'm just going to leave that leaf. And I'm going to set it over to the side. Ooh. All right. Dirty, dirty, dirty. I have my gloves for this. Potting and propagation, it never ends. And it's so fun. Love when I come in the house with dirt all over my nails. Hell yeah, girl. If you are afraid of getting dirt under your nails, you cannot be in the gardening club. I'm sorry. Well, that's not true. You can be a girly girl, but I mean, it's going to be a rough time. Make some little cuttings. Why not, right? Okay. Trim these down. If you want to grow a lot of stuff, which I'm hoping, I want to open a nursery. Like, that's what I want to do one day, is have my own nursery. So I'm always going to be doing this, making cuttings whenever I trim my trees, as much as I can anyway. I just want to have a place like they do, where I'm seasonal, but you come in and there's so many people that there's lines, like, to check out. That's how well this one nursery was doing. Just crazy. But anyway. I'm covered in dirt. Right. Fun cutting. Picked my first thing of blueberries today, which is awesome. They were so damn good. They didn't even make it inside. We just sat outside and ate all of them. It's like a whole handful, good 14, 15 of them. And we just sat there and ate them all. They were so yummy. So, which is nice because that means that we're about to, I mean, not swapping off of keto, but going to be incorporating fruit into our diet now, but only stuff that comes from the garden, you know. So, that's always exciting. These are the cherries. Fairly decent cuttings from the cherries. So that's good. Oh, missed this one. That's a little too young, a little too curvy, so I'm gonna say no for now. It's probably gonna die more than anything, so to the compost. Oh, Jesus. Honestly loving how much use I'm getting out of this tub. 3 little cherry stems. Ooh, let's work that one in very slowly. He's delicate. 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 Okay. Cherry. Barbados cherry. Alright. Oh, there's 3 of them. 3 cuttings. I'm going to go ahead and notate that down. Help me be an identifier later if I confuse them. Right there. All together. Perfect. Slide that back over. Okay. Whew. I'm getting a little tired. But it's cooling off as time goes, so whatever, like, it feels better the more time goes on. So that's fine. Okay, next pot. I got 2 left that I'm going to be up potting. I have my ice cream banana and my dwarf mulberry. The ice cream banana I am crazy excited for. I've got 2 pups already with it. I don't know how to divide those out yet. I have to research this. This is another impulse buy. I've wanted to grow a banana, but generally they don't grow here. But the ladyfinger and the ice cream banana do. Only generally they're very expensive. I got this for $15. $15. Crazy good. Crazy good. Oh, excuse me. Beautiful plant. Hard to get the whole thing on camera, but it's a lovely banana plant. Whoop. Don't flick water at me. That's not nice. Alright, let's get its little info tag here. And I'll have to take its... My grandma had a banana plant when I was younger, and that thing was one of them big ones though. It was like a Cavendish or I don't know, something, one of those big old banana plants. This one is not. These are a dwarf variety. The ice cream banana is a dwarf variety with a vanilla-y flavor, I guess. At least that's what they say. I should get fruit in a couple of years. 2 to 3 years, I guess. So, I'm going to reattach its little tag in a different spot because it's quite tight on there and I don't want the stem to push against that while it's growing. Oh, sorry, that leaf was just blocking your view the whole time. Anyway, the thing was tight on the stem and it's a green stem, so it can easily be smushed, and I don't want that to happen. I think also that I need to divide this up, but I don't know how yet, so I gotta do more research on that. I think I can divide these pups out, but, you know, I can probably just leave it for now too. So yeah, a baby banana plant off of the main stem is called a pup. I guess that makes banana a dog plant. I don't know. I don't know what that even means. What would that mean? Gardening while we garden. We also have bats around here, so if you hear me freak out, it's because sometimes they just fly at your tent. I don't know why. They're chasing bugs. The bugs are attracted to light, and the light's on in the tent, so they come near the tent and smash into the roof of it and freak you out. Dry fit. That looks pretty good. It's quite good. We're gonna go with that. I want to be extra careful. Okay, I do see some rootage down there, so loosen it up over there. Sorry, play loud. Oh, they're fighting. Okay. want a new pot. You know that you want a new pot. Okay. There we go. Oh, careful. Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Thick, strong rootage. Getting root bound for a banana plant for sure. There's a little bit of fuzzy growth on some of the roots. I don't like that, but I'm just gonna kind of, same thing, kind of mess with these a little bit. Kind of get these to let go some, and then I'm gonna pop it into its new pot. It's alright. This is a great, I mean, for 15 bucks, it's an excellent plant. Heck yeah. Absolutely thick ass, oops, roots. Don't hurt them. It's okay if you hurt them a little bit. It'll be alright. Let me check the bottom though, because we really want, the bottom is important. You want the bottom to be able to grow down into the ground. So it's always important to lift it up and look at the bottom. And as you can see, these are pretty bound up and I don't want that. So if I had a fork, I'd probably poke my fork through here, but I'm going to just use my chopstick to kind of sort of dig at these a little bit and get them to loosen up some. We want that to go down, right? So we don't want it to keep going around. So just wake those roots up. You're not doing too much. Remember, this whole thing is pretty much roots, so you're not doing a whole lot of damage messing with just the outside. You're just making sure that it doesn't continue to grow worse in the soil. Pretty much it. So I'm just gonna scratch out some little pockets of outward poking roots here. There's tons of little dead roots. It's actually a a little more root bound than I thought, but that's okay. For 15 bucks, we can make this work. Worst case scenario, I'm pretty sure I could take this and slice it up 3 ways and have 3 different plants. So I think we're good, but you know, just in case, we're gonna be careful. I mean, this is fairly careful. It might seem like I'm doing damage. I'm really not doing a lot of damage. You don't want to just come in here and just that type of shit, you know. But this ain't gonna hurt it. Not really. Not in the long run. It might have a little slightly slower takeoff, but definitely nothing worse than if you just shoved it into the ground as it was, and in 2 years it just fell over dead because the roots just kept bundling in on themselves until it couldn't get any nutrients pulled up anymore. So, you know, pick your battles. Alright, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. That's gonna reach out. Happy with that. I'll pop it in the soil, in the pot. And again, I like to plant mine so that the root is slightly higher, because the feeder roots, the ones that stretch out over the top layer of soil, have an easier time of going over this top layer and down into the soil that's only like slightly lower, right? And it also ensures that when I go to water this and I plant it in, what I'm going to do is when I mulch around this after I plant it to the ground, the mulch is going to get higher around this area, and I'm going to create a donut around it, and the water is going to pool right here. So even though I'm going to plant this a little higher, when I mulch it up, the mulch layer is going to be higher up than this, and it's going to cause the water to flush in to this area every time it rains or when I water it or anything like that. I am very much so against the banana donut, exactly. I'm very much against the mulch volcano that you see a lot of people do, where they take mulch and they just pile it up in this big old volcano around the base of a tree. Trees have air roots. That's part of their feeder root system. You don't want to pile up stuff in this gigantic like volcano around the base of these. It can cause it to rot out towards the bottom part and cause damage to the trees overall. Now if you know, You won't see that type of damage immediately if it's an older, well-established tree, but it will happen over time. So, you know, I like to do the donut. So, a slight layer of mulch here goes up into a donut around this side, and that shape, again, causes water to come down into the root ball. A little better, too. So, better for the tree, and then also better water delivery. So, double benefit! Yay! All that stuff. So I'm going to backfill around this banana. I haven't once made a joke about this shit as bananas, but it's pretty crazy that this thing was only $15. B-A-N-A-N-A-S. So again, I'm backfilling and just making sure I tap it in on the sides because we don't want any air pockets, big old air pockets in the soil. I'll just keep saying this until I'm blue in the face. We mixed up the soil to make it. It's full of air right now, and you want to pack it in just a little bit as you're backfilling to make sure you don't leave giant pockets of air because that will kill your roots as well. So it's just as bad as super compacted. So don't super compact, but don't leave big old air pockets. Just that simple. You know. Just feel it out. That's what I do, hell. Just, you know, be perfect while guessing. Yeah, no. You actually don't have to be perfect. Plants want to live. You can slightly compact it, and you can slightly not compact. You can plant it too loose. And 9 times out of 10, as long as you're not doing anything crazy and it's not just like the worst fucking mixture in the world, your plant's gonna try. That's what I love about gardening. It has room for failure. Like, you have plenty of room for failure. And you're still gonna get a result of some kind, usually, right? Like, I have killed plants before, don't get me wrong, and that sucks. But that's usually just something dumb that I did, like leave it sitting too long without watering it, or not put it in the ground fast enough, or when I put it in the ground, I didn't take the time to fully follow the steps. So, because I didn't do that, I, you know, didn't create a initial starting point in the ground that was, you know, conducive to growth. Anyway, made plenty of mistakes, but for the most part, if you are in extreme with it like that, like literally leaving it in beating hot sun with no water and shit like that, you can usually get a good result. Like, it's gonna try. So you really don't have to be perfect. You just want to do your best, you know? I think that one of the things that I like to keep in mind while I'm gardening is that I am, at least partially, imitating natural growth, right? Like, not just imitating it, but so for productive growth, food growth, it is slightly different than just planting. Like, it's not just a pretty tree that you're shoving in the ground and whatever. Pruning it is very important. You know, you're creating conditions that make it want to fruit more than it naturally would in the wild. So you're creating those conditions. But if we get too far from those general good natural conditions, hey, welcome back, Pro. If we go too far from those natural conditions, if we don't give it a nice mulch layer, if we don't let some of the leaves fall and drop at it and bring nutrients back into the soil, if we don't let it try and have some of those natural environments, eventually the plant begins to behave in a way that is... Uh-oh. Well, at least you were there to help. They tend to behave in a way that's not natural to the plant. It'll overfruit, it'll overproduce, it'll kill itself out faster. So you want to try and... I at least try to make a nice healthy balance between my production conditions and natural conditions. I like to research each plant, think about and consider its natural conditions. Pawpaws and fruit trees that grow up natively in this area, for example, are very used to foliage being on the ground around its base during the yeah, I don't know. I'm crazy, girl. I'm a nerd. I'm a big old nerd. Like, so I'll show you. I'll go get my plant diary in a second and show you some of the shit that I've been doing. Like, I have problems, but it makes me so happy. Like, it gives me such fulfillment to do all this stuff. Anyway, try and imitate natural conditions. That's the main point. This is up potted now. I'm gonna redo the plant nerd. But I'm awesome. Thank you. Oh, I'm awesome at it. Thank you. I'm gonna put this little name tag on a different one because, again, this is a green growth. I don't want anything smushing against it. I like that word a lot too, smushing. I don't want anything smushing against it and causing the green growth to bulge or split or anything like that. So I'm going to put its little tag on another little stake that I'm just going to shove in here. No, girl, I got problems. We all know it. It's fine. Oh, yeah. I love to talk to the plants, too. I'm only not talking to them because I'm talking to y'all. But normally, and what I'll do, actually, when I get done with this is I'll go through and tell them how the ones that I trimmed up, they got a haircut. You know, they needed it. It's okay. I'm sorry. You know, but it's going to grow back. It's going to grow healthier. That I want their roots to reach out and grow real deep. You know, I try to be mindful, especially when I go out and walk around the garden in the morning and in the afternoon and stuff like that. I just try to, I don't know, especially my Gabriel tree. I talk to my Gabriel tree a lot. I keep getting little reminders of my friend. So I had a friend named Gabriel that passed away last year, and he went to Chico State, and we were watching a show today that mentioned Chico State, which is funny. Anyway, let me put this out the way. But I talk to that tree a lot. I have a lot of cushions from wicker furniture that I have for outside, and I put them. Yes, we were watching White Lotus. That's right. And yep. And I have a cushion for some of the wicker furniture that I set out under the tree, and I just kind of set out under the shade, and it's a weeping Yoshiro cherry tree. Oops, that I just got, and it's looking real good. Anyway, let's know how you are commenting. He's a magic man. He's Apsy the Great. What do you mean? What do you mean? Have you never met the great wizard Apsy? Apsy the magical. Apsy the never-ending story. Where are we going? Alright. Last plant is my dwarf mulberry, which was $8. Look at this thing. So much growth. Very vigorous. Looks happy. Ready to take off. It is a dwarf mulberry. In theory, I can only let it get up to 5 feet and it'll grow just fine, but I'm going to let it take over and become a big ass tree, and I want to have mulberries just falling out everywhere. Somebody asked me if this was 1940s. I wish, because then all the mulberry trees would be native and shit, but we're good. I'm going to, well, they're probably, I don't even know where they're from actually, but it'd just be a different time, it'd be easier for trees. I don't know if y'all know about grafting and stuff like that, but sometimes it's hard to get open pollinated heirloom type trees that you can plant the seeds of the fruit and get a similar, not get a different starter plant. Anyway, it's a subject for another day. So I'm gonna get this mulberry started in a new pot. Oh, actually, I don't like this pot. Give me 1 second. My friend, my best friend Elizabeth, she actually tricked me. I thought, she told me she had a mulberry tree. So I went down there to visit her, which was several hours away. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, okay, I thought so. Thank you. I thought so. Yeah, in the 40s, we would have been able to go out and just get them in the woods. I wouldn't have to buy them from a nursery, you know. I actually have a black cherry tree growing up in the woods right behind my house. I have some wild magnolia trees, like big old, those white flower magnolias. We have a lot of native trees down here that just grow out wild if you let them, but unfortunately we have a lot of businesses that are agriculture businesses that'll come down and knock down a bunch of woods and grow pine trees instead. Like, we have swaths of that shit. It kind of sucks. Anyway, moving on. Bigger pot. I also don't know how it would be now trying to go out into, like, let's say I went to a little more dirt. I went to a park, you know, a nature park to go look for trees or something like that. I'm not sure how people are if you dig up stuff from out there. Probably don't want you to. Like, I want to go look for cuttings at this state park up the road. Oh god, I hate Bradford pears. Kudzu I don't like either, but at least you can eat it. Bradford pears are just stinky. They smell like, well, you know what they smell like. If you don't know what a Bradford pear is, it smells like splooge when it's blooming. It stinks. They stink. They fucking stink. And they're everywhere. Because it was just a thing. I think in North Carolina, they will pay you to dig up and bring in Bradford pears. Yeah, they do. They do. Anyway, they're awful. They're just awful. But everybody loved the way they looked. And so all these people put them in their yards, and they're just shitty trees. They're just shitty trees. They fall apart. Like, the branches grow out all wild and crazy, and they fall off, and they deteriorate, and they'll take over an entire forest and then knock out all the other native shit out and then die, you know, in droves. It's just, they're really shitty. Yes, they do. Let's roll this mulberry out. Ooh, okay. It's so rough. What in the world? Is that a root? Holy shit. Hang on. Oh my god. Look at these roots. That is thick. I was pushing on the pot and felt that thing. That is huge. Sorry. That is huge. Very healthy trees though. All these plants are healthy. Some of them are very, very root bound, but healthy all the same. So I'm going to scratch them up. Make sure they can grow out. This ain't too bad. I might cut the bottom a little bit, but this ain't that bad. This dirt smells so healthy. It does. Anyway. Sorry. My mom bought a house. I'm gonna start popping up during that time of the developer. Put 2 Bradford pears in front of every house. Yep. They're everywhere down. Yeah, they did the same thing down here. I can go down like early spring or whatever. I can go down the road and you'll just see. There's an entire field actually up the road. It really kind of pisses me off because there could be so many different plants growing up there. Ain't nobody doing anything with the land, but it is covered in Bradford pears, and it's shitty small Bradford pears. Like they're fighting for sunlight, so they won't grow big, and nothing else is growing because it can't get sunlight. Yeah, exactly. Well, it is, and it was. I mean, it did put off pretty flowers. I just don't think they expected it to stink as much as they did. I also have to go back to that whole thing where we decided that fruit trees, the ones that drop the nasty fruit, were something that you didn't want in town centers because people, quote unquote, didn't want to deal with the bugs and such associated with the fruit. But then also we can kind of ignore the fact that it would have fed other people. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. But just saying, they decided to get rid of the good fruiting trees and only replace with male trees that splooge everywhere, which is why we all have horrible allergies. It shouldn't be there shouldn't be a pollinating, if that makes any sense. It should be pretty balanced out, but we have a whole fuck ton of male trees because they didn't like the fruiting female trees. They didn't like having to deal with them, or they didn't want to have them dropping food everywhere, whatever, I don't know. But that was I think a 50s into 60s movement, if I remember. I don't know. I have to look it up later. Oh, we made just enough soil, y'all. Just a little bit more than we needed, but very decent planning here. And I got some cuttings that I'm going to try and propagate from this. This has been very successful. And I only spent $130 for all this. If you go to Lowe's or Home Depot, take a look at some of those plant prices. They are wild. This place that I went to, they have an online store. It's called Growers Outlet LLC. It is based out of Loganville, Georgia. They have an online store. You can order stuff. I mean, I never thought that I'd find a nursery like this to like really get a food forest going, because I could get the basics, you know, peaches, pears, that kind of stuff from Lowe's, but they didn't have passion fruit, they didn't have soursop, they didn't have bananas, they didn't have, I mean, they have olives, they do have olives, but, you know, they hadn't had mulberries this whole time, you know. And the apple tree that I was going to get from Lowe's was $95. Ooh, I might take a look at that. I might bring some stuff. It just depends. I have some succulents. I don't have much. But I am, when we install our pool, we're going to have rock, you know, around it to keep it clean and everything around it. So I'm going to use one of the rock sections because I'm going to do it in like a tiled, it's a design. Anyway, I'm going to do a succulent bed in one of the rock garden areas. Cool. All right. I will definitely take a look. But the apple tree that they have at Lowe's is $95. I got one at this place today. It's an Arkansas black apple. I don't have it up here because I ain't going to be able to put it on the camera anyway. It's too big. But that thing was $26. What's wrong with it? Do you, like... Actually, I have some pine trees that are sick in the back, and I'm a little nervous about one of them, but... Old pine. Not this, newer, thin shit that they grow in. Yeah. We were going to remove this one tree in the front that looked like it was very sick, but then we determined that it must have gotten struck by lightning. It's like burnt and broken at the top, but now it's got like super fucking vigorous growth at the bottom. Yeah. Well, it's a vacation home. That's what you do. Old Sparky boy. Yeah, really. Yeah. Give me permission and a reason to come up there, and I'll give you a garden, girl. I'll make it the cutest vacation home. You'll pull up to there and be like, huh. It'll look like let me think. I want to do something like the, did you ever watch Matilda? The Teacher's House? I want to do something where, oh, okay, well, there's this teacher that she goes to visit, and when she, like, goes up to her house or whatever, the whole thing is just covered in these flowers and stuff. Mrs. Honey, that was her name. I'll find a picture of it and send it later. But you'll get the idea. It's like, turn the corner and just see this flush of flowers. That's almost what I have going on in the front of my house right now. And another year or two, once the perennial flowers spread enough, it should, in theory, take over a whole section that I have and look like a crazy patch of, you know, big old perennial flowers and all that good stuff. Yeah, exactly. I'm so excited. I feel like I would have done this when I was younger. You know, people keep calling this like grandma activities. I would have loved to do this when I was young. Maybe this is what I should have gone into in college instead. Plant stuff. Gardening, landscaping. Which, I could be a gardener. I can't be no landscaper. I hate useless plants. Well, that's not true. I don't hate useless plants. I hate ornamental plants that serve no purpose other than visual things. That, like, those little, what are those bushes called? Box bush, but box, you know what I'm talking about? I have not. I only started gardening in 2021. Boxwood things. They're so... Oh, okay. I don't know. Anyway. So picky. Okay, mulberries up potted. Happy with it. Ooh! I'm gonna grab my watering hose. Water all these guys in. Get this dirt off of here. And then I'll just show some of the progress from the seed starting video we did. A little bit. We got a couple things coming in. Popping up, I mean. And then I'll be done. This has been fun. I hope it's been informative. Now I got these over here. I'm going to water them in real good. They all got plenty of drainage, you know. We put that peat moss in. So, just to kind of recap real quick. We made the soil for up-potting all these plants. We're doing a potting mix soil because we don't know how long they're going to stay until we get them in the garden permanently in the ground. So we did a potting mix. So we did 1:1:1 ratio of peat moss to compost and manure to topsoil. I also added in some Hollytone organic granular fertilizer. That is a 4:3:4 NPK ratio fertilizer. Organic granular is a slow release fertilizer. All organic granulars are. It's not gonna be available immediately to the plant. It'll be available in the first, in a couple of months when it starts to break down. But later on I'm going to come in with some liquid fertilizer, but I'm going to do that on a different day. I'm not going to do it tonight. I don't want to shock the roots too much since I just up-potted them and I did some trimming on them, on some of them, so I don't want to add a fertilizer tonight. I feel like that might be a little too much for the roots. That might make it a little hard for them to, process the up-potting and get over the transplant shock. The general preference, plenty of people water them, fertilize them in with liquid fertilizer immediately because, you know, liquid fertilizer is immediately available. The organic granular isn't, liquid fertilizer is. So, so the, for some people will go ahead and do it. I wait, I try to make sure they've taken to their new pots first because I don't want to, you know, give them too much work on the first couple of days. So in a couple of days I'll come out and give them some liquid fertilizer then. I also added in some earthworm castings, which is earthworm poop. It's just good to add in. It's good organic material for the plants to get nutrients from. So it's a reason for your compost, a reason for your manure. Oh, I forgot to take this off. Really getting the mulberry picture thing off there. I left its little name tag where it was. I didn't see an issue with where it was hanging at the time, so I'm going to leave the mulberry name tag on there. It's a dwarf variety. They can be kept at 5 feet, but I'm going to let it grow as tall as it can. All these will eventually go into the ground, even the ones that maybe don't belong in this climate. We're going to see how well they do. All of these were $15 and under, so if it doesn't, you know, survive, then it doesn't survive. That's okay. We'll take that chance. We're going to risk it. Some of them might come inside for the first winter and then go back out next year when they've grown a little bit into the ground, but we'll see. We'll determine all that then. Later on, I mean. Right now, they are all getting watered in real good. And then we're going to swap. How is there already a spider? That's absurd. There's already a spider that's made a link between some of these leaves. He was just busy while I was up here, I guess. Anyway. Like, hang on. I'm gonna grow here. I love this new plant. Perfect. Thanks, Mom. You probably don't think of me as Mom.
But I am. I'm his mother.
Okay, those are all watered in really good. Let me show you some of the plant starts from the other day and how they're doing, and then I'll wrap it up. So we'll set that there. So the lima beans, 2 of them have decided they love what we think we've done. They love the decorations. They've come out to play. They're going to grow. I have to find a spot for them really soon, actually. That's really funny. They grew up pretty tall, so it's good stuff. Black-eyed peas have come up, a couple of them. See what we got. None of the asparagus beans yet. Summer squash, yes, has started popping up. Oh, yeah, that's summer squash, and then we have. Oh, sorry, that's not summer squash. I have to go back and look. Oh, that's scallop squash. Sorry, this is scallop squash. And then this is summer squash. So we got some of those popping up too. These are just little grass seeds. You just pluck them out. It's no big deal. Once you learn to identify the different plants, grass is pretty easy to identify. It grows up the same almost everywhere. Looks like that. So I just pluck those out as I see them. And if you're unsure, just leave it for a while. You'll eventually know. The Swiss chard has taken off. I'll have to separate that out. that we did the other day. They're doing real good. I have these sitting out in my little tiny little porch greenhouse. These are tomatoes that we got potted. You can see they're growing up real good. They've taken to the transplant quite quickly. And then these are the radishes. So I gotta get those into their planters pretty soon, which that'll be my next one because I'm going to be working on my stacking planter. I gotta get my stacking planter set up so that these guys can sit on the edges of it and grow up real tall. So that's my plan there with the radish. Tomatoes are going to go out into the main garden. I just want to give you a nice little view of this area over there. I'm so happy with how this went. And then I'm going to wrap it up here. Nice. Nice. So that's all the up potting we did. It's my propagation area over there. Or my germination, I don't know. Germination station in the corner. And those are all the up potted plants. So that's all the work we did tonight, which is awesome. And thank y'all for tuning in. Hope that you have a wonderful Saturday. Hope that you had a wonderful Saturday, that you have a good Sunday. And I'll catch y'all next time. See ya.